Best of r/Tales from Tech Support episode 57. I work at a company that services equipment for field-based users for various corporate contracts. We have a ton of horror stories. One of the companies we support had a serious security breach a few years ago, so understandably they take security much more serious. HD is for help desk. User is for the customer. HD, thank you for calling the field help desk. My name is Nelzorm. Can I get your first and last name? User, I have no time for pleasantries. I am in the field and need a password reset. HD, I understand, sir. I will need your name so I can look up your account information. User, ugh. Deep sigh, my name is HD, thank you. For security purposes, I need to ask you questions to verify your identity. User, what a waste of time. Just reset it. Here is my email address. @com. HD, ignoring his statement, what is your mother's maiden name? User, mumbling in a whispering tone. HD, I'm sorry sir, I cannot hear you. User, shouting, name. HD, thank you. May I have the name of your favorite pet? User, UHH. Name 1. HD, I'm sorry, that came back as incorrect. User, shouting 4-letter expletive. HD, me being an ass, I apologize but that also came back as incorrect. User, I am sick of this. I am a Vietnam vet. I flew helicopters in the most dangerous areas in the world. Just reset my password or I am going to come down there and gut you like a fish. HD, I am sorry sir. I cannot reset your password unless you verify the answers of 2 security questions. User, here I come. Disconnect. We used a PKI-RSA system for access. The system physically would not give you a code unless you typed in the correct answer and the case sensitivity they used. It was super frustrating for the users and the help desk. The user ended up calling back and yelling at 2 other technicians. My service level manager contacted their home office. They sent a MP3 of the call. Apparently, they had complaints within their organization about this user. He was put on final notice and banned from calling our help desk. I have no clue if he ever needed help again or who would help him. 6 months later, he exited their company. Thank you. Next. Long time reader. First post ever. This happened to me in 1998 or around that time. I lived in Mexico and I had a small IT business. English second language. You know the rest. Long story but it needs a little background. My father had a friend. I will call him Jose, because it's a short name, that used to sell insurance policies for everything. Life insurance, car, medical, business, home, anything you can insure he did. He worked for several insurance companies and depending on the insurance company he got a large printout, dot matrix printer, Google it, every week with all the information about his customers' policies. It was hard to read and understand since it was sorted by policy number. One day he saw me doing some work for my dad in a computer. I was working in Excel sorting customers to create a report for my dad. He started to ask me questions about what I was doing and how it worked and how it can help him. I told him that for the type of business he had he could use a database of customers and what kind of policy, with what company and when it started and expiration date, and he could run reports to better serve his customers by sorting the columns any way he wanted. He said he was too old to work with a computer, maybe in his early 50s. I liked him and I told him that I will teach him and even I can lend him a computer. I had an older 8086 computer. Google it, to start. He could come to my office for a class anytime. I told him to bring one of his dot matrix printouts for any of the insurance companies. So, he did. On a Monday, after he got a printout from Friday, he came to the office and I told him to type it into Excel with only the relevant columns he wanted. He saw me with eyes of "you're kidding me." I say go on. Just 20-30 rows. He did. Then I showed him how he can sort it by customer name, expiration date, how to select print area to print small reports, like expiration date and more. We did this for a week, and he felt comfortable taking the computer home. He started to capture all his customers every day at night time and his wife complained for like 3 weeks that it was a waste of time and that he just want to sell you an expensive useless equipment. You have been doing this with a computer for a long time. Once he captured all his customers with type of insurance, insurance company, starting and expiration date. He started to print his first reports sorting by expiration date. Important. One day he told me this story. Paraphrasing. He got a call at 2 a.m. on a workday. No cell phone, so I called to his house. Important customer. I see. Called to tell him that part of his factory caught fire. Part of the inventory and one large box truck and 2 pickup trucks owned by the business. And he wanted him there ASAP. Jose arrived in less than an hour with all the insurance documents at hand. I see. Hi Jose, is the insurance current? We lost 25% of the inventory and 3 vehicles. Jose, yes, they are. All your policies are current. I see. Are you sure? Jose, yes I see. Last month I ran my report and called you 2 weeks before they expired, and you told me to talk to your assistant and renew as always. You are 100% covered. Factory, inventory and business vehicles. I see. Sight of relief. Let's meet next week Monday at lunchtime. I will give you all my personal insurance that my brother-in-law has and I don't think he has any clue if they are current or not. You will have the house, cars, medical and life. Jose, can't believe it, thank you. He told me that when he got home around 4 a.m. his wife asked him what happened. He told her the story and he mentioned that the guy was so happy with his insurance service that he was going to give him all his personal business. She asked how? He said, do you remember all those reports with expiration dates and type of policies I run every day and sometimes I print? The ones you always complained about, and the computer that does not do any good? Well, all his policies were current due to those reports. He ended buying a new computer from me. His wife started to help him. She even went to an Excel and Word class. He grew his business to the point he was able to hire and pay his daughter too. He kept the same computer until he passed away in 2016. R.I.P. my friend. Now his daughter runs the same business. Now with a much better computer. TLDR friend with no computer knowledge grows his business with a Len computer. Thank you. Next. As previously mentioned, senior technical support for the fruit-based enterprise. Here's one from this week. Me C. Customer CW. Co-worker. A lady calls in because her Mac has gotten a lot slower since updating to the latest OS. This was a 2013 model, so it has a mechanical HD. She had spoken to a colleague already who did some more basic steps but advised her to get an external hard drive so she could back up her data in case we needed to erase the computer. She apparently agreed to this. She comes to me the next day wanting to downgrade her OS because this one has caused her all these issues. So I tell her the options. Restore from a time machine backup that was made with the previous OS. Revert back to the original OS and do incremental upgrades. This requires the hard drive to be erased. Even before I finished explaining the first option, she says, I don't have a backup and I'm not gonna spend any money getting a hard drive because of your lousy system. There goes option 1 then. I present to her option 2, to which she replies, see, I can't erase my disk. This is a company computer and I have all my work files here. Is there a way to downgrade without erasing? I noticed on her desktop she appeared to work directly or indirectly with several city halls in her area. No. We only do downgrades as a last ditch attempt and they both require you to have some form of a backup. I should point out that her 1TB drive only had 75GB used with data. That and an OS would be enough to fit in a 128GB drive, which costs around $20 these days. So I decide to keep troubleshooting, to at least say I did something. No hard drive corruptions but 55K plus of files in her cache folder, which takes several minutes to delete. As she's being snarky, saying that all work colleagues call her computer the rotten fruit, and that Windows machines don't have these issues. She asks why are there so many files. How often do you switch the computer off? C. In a boisterous tone, I only do that when I'll leave for the weekend. Of course. Great. Can you start doing that at least every other day? That will definitely help. I leave her re-indexing Spotlight, no search results were coming up in it, and shoo her away. She called back a few hours later and told my colleague, see, I'm done messing around with this. I manage my own company and I need to have this fixed now. To which my co-worker replied along the lines of, CW, it's your choice. You either spend some company money on an external drive to back up your precious work data of the company you say you manage and do what you want to do to solve the issue, or let this be and deal with a slow Mac that may have a failing hard drive and would cause catastrophic data loss. You're gonna have to commit. She huffed and disconnected and haven't heard from her since. Thank you. Next. Another post from the Wayback Machine when my office was automated with 2 IBM PCS on rolling carts that could be wheeled from office to office when necessary. These PCS had 251/4 floppies stacked on top of each other and no hard drives at all, and this particular event happened in the early 90s. The consultants were older gentlemen who had limited to no computer experience at all. They did know how to boot up Lotus 123 and work on spreadsheets, so they each kept track of their own files on their own diskettes and just signed out the machines on an as needed basis. One day one of these consultants came in a little flustered and asked for help because my floppy diskette won't come out of the computer. Double entendres aside, I walked down to his office and checked both the A drive and B drive and found nothing in either. Puzzled, I told him I didn't see any disks in either and asked him what he meant. Worriedly, he pointed to the very small gap between the two drives. I think he realized his error before he came and got me, but needed help saving his data. Grinning face with normal eyes. TLDR, a computer user basically shoved a floppy diskette into the gap between two vertically mounted floppy drives and then needed help getting his diskette back. /Fasipum. Fortunately, I was able to take the cover off, get his disk, which amazingly still worked in the drive. Thank you. Next. Over a decade ago, working for an ISP, I received a call from a user who couldn't get online with her self-install kit. Me, what lights do you see lit up on your modem? Her, there are no lights lit up on it, that's why I'm calling you. Me, okay, let's figure out why. Can you check that the power cord is plugged into the back of your modem, and that the other end is plugged into a working electrical outlet? There are no cords plugged into it. Me, alright, that's our problem. Can you find the power cord that was provided and plug it in? Why would I do that? It's supposed to be wireless. Me, awkward silence to process what I just heard. Mom, wireless means no cords running to your computer. You still need a cord to the modem to provide power. This is ridiculous. I pay for wireless, you idiot, and I want wireless service. I spent the next 5 minutes explaining to her about why her mod needs a power cord. It wasn't good enough. She demanded to speak to my supervisor because heads were going to roll. I put her on hold and informed my supervisor of the situation. He chuckled and said he'd take care of it. I got back on the phone with her and hit her with my favorite line I'd use before supervisor transfers. I'm getting ready to transfer you to my supervisor, who will be happy to tell you exactly what I just told you. Please hold. My supervisor told her the same exact thing. That wasn't good enough for her. He ended up transferring her to customer retention and one of the guys there said she cancelled service. Good riddance. Thank you. Next. People can be rude. Really rude. But sometimes just rude to be rude, without any actual reason to be. Completely unwarranted rudeness. Me, thank you for calling technical support. How can I help you? Customer, what do you mean by technical? Me, tech support, for your device. I can also handle any concerns with your account. How can I help you? Customer, okay, but what do you mean by that? Me, if you have an issue or concern with your device or service, I can help. How can I help you? Customer, why are you not answering my question? Me, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. Customer, me either, I want to speak to your manager. Me, okay. The customer speaks with management and apparently it went just as well. Customer was flagged for abuse, as the account notes showed this happening multiple times a day, almost 100 inbound calls just in the past month. Skip forward a few weeks. The customer's services were disconnected and they are permanently banned from ever having them again. Thank you. Next. Quick one. User, I can't print. Me, okay, let's have a look. I check the most obvious things. Is the printer mounted? Is the document the right size? etc, etc. Then I see it. Me, you're not connected to our network in order to print to our printers. You're currently using a hotspot. User, yeah, but I can't use Ziz on your network. It's blocked, and I need to print it. Me, Similarly, you can't print to a network printer without being connected to the network it's on. User, so how do I print it then? Me, you, I. Save it to the laptop from your hotspot, then connect to the network and print it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why us IT folks drink.